taken a hit to do it, but overall the people are even more supportive of him today than they were in the past, and we're honored to have him here with us today. We'll be with us another 20 minutes or so, and we're going to get into a whole bunch of other world news coming up as well. Right now we're going to your calls. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231 on this live Thursday edition, 1-800-259-9231. I want to move quickly now. Rick in Texas, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi. Saturday is 911 days from 3/11. So 3/11 was 911 days from 9/11, the original. And
it took place on 3/11. 911, and these psychopaths are normally into weird numbers and weird signatures if you read criminology, and yeah, that's why the New York lottery came up 9/11 on the 1-year anniversary. The Chicago Mercantile came up 9/11 point with 5 zeros behind it. It was like 1 out of 14 billion something. Totally
impossible. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, and Saturday's 996. But I don't know, I mean, these guys are over the top. Their handlers are letting them go over the top because America's got to be taken down. And that's the whole point of this. And the reason why, I think everybody does know this, but half the people work for some form of government. And even if you work for something like a construction company, if you make roads, you're working for the government. If you work for a defense contractor, you're basically working for the government.
Well, I want to be clear here. When we talk about the government carrying out the attack, we mean very small black ops squads and tiny agencies or tiny sectors of agencies interlocking with other foreign intelligence agencies being supported by defense contractors. So, when we say the government, but it's good that people are in the government system because they can leak information, they can be whistleblowers. Would you like to comment on that, Pastor?
No, I think that's right. Most of the people in the government are good. I did a sermon several years ago where I don't even remember the subject, but I made the statement about how the government is doing this and it's bad. And I probably had 5 people in the church come up to me afterward who all worked for the government here in Austin and said they were hurt by that. But the reason that they went into that job was to do good, not to do harm. And it was sobering for me to realize, let's give most of the people in the government credit. They're really good people who really want to do the right thing.
Well, it's a cross-section of society. Most police are good, but the training they're given, the systems they're taught are fraud and is oppressive.
Yeah. I understand.
Sorry, caller, go ahead.
I understand, but what I'm saying is they don't want to, I mean, think of it. Their whole livelihood is tied up into it. It's just a deal like a denial. I mean, it's like if you found out, say if you're married and you found out your wife's cheating on you, first you're going to have denial. I mean, if someone tells you that. And this is even more because, these guys, the cost-benefit analysis like you talk about, they saw how much of, the economy and how much of this country or the government, different agencies actually control. So they said, well, even if we do get caught, what are these people going to do? Because they're beholden to our money.
Oh, I agree with you. And let me just add this. People who work for the government have the misconception that then if elements of the government do wrong and they expose it, somehow that reflects on them, or they think because they're good people, then the rest of the government couldn't be bad, which is extreme naivete.
Yeah. Well, I just think these guys are so... I mean, did you read Bush's speech? He's talking about America like the American homeland. He changes tenses in the middle of sentences. I think the guy I think he's completely handled. I mean... Well,
there's no doubting that, sir. It's well known he has a transmitter in his ear. He's been caught red-handed doing that. It was like a science fiction movie. I watched part of that speech this morning on the web, and it's like Homeland. We are roughing these guys up. We do have secret prisons, and if we don't do this, they're going to hit us. We'll be right back and take more calls with our guest in the final segment.
This is Jack Blood with the Genesis Radio Network. I have an urgent message for all of our listeners. The mass media keeps telling us that we are the richest, most powerful economy in the world.